All right, welcome everybody to my first recorded video of 2023. I figured for fun, let me just give you a final recap on all of the books that I picked up in 2022 that were on my 2022 wish list. This is going to be a quick little video just running down the books that I got. I might have mentioned them on SNS this past weekend on our New Year's special, but I figured I'd just do a quick little video ahead of my 2023 wish list, which I'll premiere later on tonight. I know you're probably expecting Hidden Gems back today because I said I would have it back today, but I'm holding it for one more week. And the reason why is I got a fun new segment I want to add to it, and it's just not ready to roll yet. So I figured I'll just save it for one more week, and you guys can have Hidden Gems back in its usual Monday spot. And I might play around with the schedule in 2023, as there's a couple of new show ideas I want to try out. So hopefully you're on board to check some new stuff out, try some new things. Hopefully you like the shorts that I've started to do on the channel. I think they're doing all right. I think people are watching them and liking them. So I'm going to do some more of those as well. Just quick little content, hitting up some of the ideas that I still have out there. As you guys have been watching the channel for the past couple of years, I do have a lot of show ideas, and I just can't do all of them. Maybe not to the degree that I would like, but there's a spot for everything. There's a spot for all these ideas somewhere out there, so I'm going to try to get them out as best I can. And hopefully you're still appreciating the content and enjoying the content. Let me know what you think in the comment section. Like, subscribe, all that fun stuff. Keep telling your friends so we can keep growing the channel here in 2023. And yeah, if you want to see the books that I got for 2022, just hang on for a few seconds after this quick little intro, and I will be right back. Okay, so let's just take one final look at my my wish list for last year and see how many of these books that I got. Here's a quick little recap of all the things that I wanted in 2022, and not to spoil it, but I did not get them all. You know, we can't get everything that we want. I will still be hunting for these books, but don't expect to see these on my 2023 wish list because that would just be kind of lazy. I'm going to have all new books for you for 2023, but I still will be looking for the ones I didn't get yet for 2022. I haven't given up hope. I just, I'm not going to rehash these few. So these will all be my ongoing list for until I get them, because I do plan on getting all of these at some point. So with our first one that I got last year, was pretty early on. I did get that Carnage variant. So my number 6 book for last year, I was able to pick this one up. At the time, I mean, this is a 1 in 15 incentive, by the way, just to let you know what it is for Carnage number 6. I believe at the time there were a couple of copies available for like 125 to 250 bucks, a little bit out of my normal range that I want to spend. Current books are about the same. Like a year later, it's about the same, about 130 to 250 dollars for this book. So what's this also been selling for now? Lately, copies have sold for a little bit cheaper than that, despite the asking prices being the same. You see here, a copy sold raw for about 90 bucks. With $20 shipping out of the UK, and then there was a 9.8 that got a 9.8 for $113.50 at auction. That's a steal to me. I would have been happy to get that one because I ended up paying about $100 when I did buy it last year. So again, I'm not gonna hide what I paid. I'm gonna let you guys know, so you know what I paid for these things. So I paid $100, which, all right, I might have gotten it cheaper had I waited a little bit longer, but yeah, what are you going to do? I'm still happy to get the book that I wanted on my list. Just like my next book, which was actually number 2 on my wish list. I'm a big Adam Hughes fan, and I really wanted this cover. This is the San Diego Comic-Con book for Big Trouble in Little China number 1. I'm a huge Big Trouble in Little China fan. I love Jack Burton. I love Adam Hughes. I had to have this in my collection. And at the time when I made my list for 2022, I couldn't find any. There were none out there. It was a ghost town for this book, and I was so disappointed. I'd seen copies had sold, but none for me at the time, so I was a little upset. Now, if you go looking, it's pretty expensive, and the only 2 copies I can find right now are actually CGCSSs that want about $450 each. So that is also outside of my price range. A recent sale, however, is much cheaper because it's not an SS. Recent sale back in, well, I shouldn't say recent sale. what sold in this past year. There was a copy that sold for $60, and that is pretty close to what I was shooting for. I actually paid about 40 for mine. You can see there, $41.06 is what I ended up paying for the one that I got, and then I got this in February. So one did pop up early in the year for me to scoop up. So thankfully, I was able to add this one to my PC. And again, these are all for my personal collection. These aren't anything. You guys know, I don't normally sell books. I sell occasional books like on eBay, but for the most part, I'm a collector first, and these are books I just want in my collection and for a price that I can afford, which is why my next book, which was number 3 on my list, I got a copy. And this is that Neff box exclusive for Dr. Aphra #1 by David Nakayama, which is another one of my favorite artists. Big fan of David Nakayama. I just wanted this book. This book is also another one of those ones that was impossible to find then. Not many copies out there. This was a subscription box exclusive comic book that just wasn't readily available for everybody, and you had to know about it to get it. And I didn't even know about it at the time. So, uh, and then there was no copies available even on eBay at the time for me to buy. So this went on my wish list, and I waited and I waited. Now, what sold back then was a copy for $360 on 20 bids for a raw copy, which is pretty steep for a book like this. I liked it, but that's still a lot. I don't normally shell out that kind of cash on the regular, but we do what we can do. If you want to go and look now, there's also none up when I went my last look. I made this deck maybe a week ago, so hopefully nothing popped up in between, over the last 7 days. But nothing was available when I last looked, and a copy had sold. Don't want to say recently, but semi-recently, back in October, for $385 raw with 22 bids actually. So a lot of action. A lot of people still look for this book and will bid it up. And $300 to $400 raw is out of my comfort level that I want to pay for something like this. So what did I do? I found this copy here for $110. Yeah, you're like, oh man, great deal. But this is not a 9.8 candidate. If you were to see this book in person, there's a little rub on the top corner of the comic book. It's fine by me. I can live with it. And even at $110 for this book, considering what it would cost me to get a nicer copy, and not even guaranteeing that any of those nicer copies are going to be 9.8s either, I was happy to just get one for me for $110 because yeah, it's just for me. I don't mind the rub that's on the cover. I can deal with it. I don't mind paying what's a lot for what would be a damaged book because, well, there's just really no other options for me. So again, book I wanted, so I paid what I was comfortable paying for what I got. So you can feel fine doing what you want to do with your own collection. It's your money after all. Don't let other people influence you too much and tell you, not to say don't let reason talk you out of things, but remember, it's your money. You do what you like. If you're happy with it, just get it for you. There's a difference between getting things for you and investing. So those are whole separate ideas and require a different level of consideration. If it's just for you, it's your money. You do what you like. If it's just for you, if you're looking to resell it, well, that's a different conversation and one we can do some other time because this is just what you want list. So my next book is another book I just wanted. It's just something I needed to complete this variant set for Mad Balls. This was only number 10 on my list. I had all the other 1 in 5s and 1 in 10s for this 4-issue series, and I needed this one. This is the only one I couldn't get. It's a 1 in 10 incentive for Mad Balls number 3. I was hemming and hawing at the time. There was one up, I believe, then for $60. And I was like, do I want to pay $60 for this thing? And it was the only one that was there. It was up for a while. And it also did have best offer. And I knew the seller. I should have made an offer and just got this done back then. But I didn't. And it eventually sold. And then I waited and waited and waited. Because at the time, that was the only one that was available. None had sold. And then when I went looking after that time, it was hard. Finding one to pop up was not easy. Even if you look now, there's none up there that I could find. But one did pop up in between those times this past year. And it was listed for $85. So, as I said, the original one was $60. This was listed for $85 with best offer. So I said, you know what? I just did what I should have done the first time. I threw out an offer, and yeah, I ended up paying $60 for this thing. So I ended up paying that full price where I could have gotten the other one cheaper had I acted sooner. But considering how long I waited for this thing, I've just decided, you know what? $60 is $60. I'd rather just check this one off my list and move on. So that's what I did. Threw it out there. The seller accepted, and I got this book into my collection. And I'm happy that little run is done. I'm all done with those Mad Balls. Up next was probably one of my bigger purchases of the year. And this one I actually got from a friend. We'll get to that in a second. But this is my number 8 book. And the reason why I was listed number 8 is because I had no expectations or illusions that I was actually going to get this book. I thought it was going to be impossible because I didn't think I'd be able to afford it, even if I found a copy that was out there, because this was a tough find to begin with. And this is the 1 in 10 incentive for Cobra number 19. Gorgeous Baroness cover. I love this cover. Like I said, I wanted it, and there were none up. There were none. So, and there was none for a while. I've been watching for this book for a while, and when it did occasionally pop up, it was just so expensive, as evidenced by a 9.4 sale that sold last December for $800 for a 9.4. So that was more than I was really wanting to shell out. So I waited. Thankfully, a friend, Sticks. He is also a big G.I. Joe fan, had one, and he said, you know what? Let's talk. So we talked. There's also none out there when I last looked either. So none to be found. And I don't believe there's any that sold recently either. But I did get my copy, as I said, from my buddy Sticksboy73. Go check him out on the IGs. He also does Whatnot occasionally too. But we worked out a deal, and I actually got a really nice raw copy of this. I'm considering sending it in because he had it bagged and boarded. It looks gorgeous as it is. I'm considering sending it to CGC in my next submission to see what happens with it. So I'll let you guys know how it comes back. But I will tell you, I don't know if I want to tell you how much I paid for this one, only because between me and Sticks, I don't know if Sticks wants this out there. So me and him, we worked out a comfortable price. I was happy with it. He was happy with it. So I was able to add this book to my collection. So with that, we'll move on to the next one. And I think it's my final one, maybe my number 1 book. So the book that I wanted on my list I wanted to make sure I got this one this past year was Silver Surfer number 1, the 1 in 50 Francavilla cover. If you know, I'm a big fan of Silver Surfer. I like Francavilla. I love these 2 1 in 50 covers for issues 1 and issue 2 of the 2014 series. I already had issue 2 in my PC, so I needed issue 1. And there were copies. It wasn't impossible to find. It's tough, but not impossible. It just was expensive. Even though at the time, there were none. Plenty have come up over the last year, and I watched and looked at every one of them and found one eventually that was in my range. Because at the time, this was selling for 170 to $200 raw, well, actually, that was a 9.6 for almost $200, and that's still like, all right, 150, not terrible, but didn't get it. If you look now, there's copies out there, $300 for a raw. There's an 8.5 asking 260, and then there's a 9.2 SS that's looking for 375. So even now, there are no cheap copies. Though there are copies to be had, they're not very cheap. And again, that's a little more than I would like to pay. And even like this one that sold back in October was a best offer on $400. So again, a little too steep for me. That's not out of the range that I'd be comfortable paying. So I did get one, and I got it for 140. So even that was a little on the higher end. I was trying to shoot for about 100, maybe 120. I pushed it to 140 because you know what? I had it at the time, and sometimes when you have the extra cash, you make silly decisions. So that's what I did. I bought this book along with a number of other books from the same seller. So I just kind of put together a big pile of variants and just bought a bunch of stuff. I think I ended up spending like almost $300, but this was part of it. And yeah, just happy to get this one checked off of my list for 2022. And the final recap is, here we go. I got most of these books on this list. I didn't get the Nakayama Bridgewater Triangle. That's impossible to get. I didn't get the Negative Space Vader. That's just super pricey and tough to find. The Aja Mall is also too expensive for me. And that He-Man Skeletor is still a little bit pricier than I want to shell out for it, because it's not impossible to find. It's tough, but it's just expensive. So that's the tricky part with these. These are on my wish list because I still want to pay a price that I'm comfortable paying. Yes, you could find and buy most of these books, most, not all, if you have the cash. And I got to just be a little more frugal sometimes. So yeah, this is what I got. Thanks for stopping by and checking this out. I will be back later tonight with the 2022 list that I have for you, so you can see what books I am hunting currently for this year, now that we are just 2 days in. I didn't get any yet. Almost. I was shooting for one, but I didn't get any yet. So I'll let you know where we're at and where that list is later tonight. So once again, thanks for all your support for the channel. Keep an eye on a bunch of new stuff coming your way. And yeah. Thanks again. I will see you soon with some more content. All right, later.